Hey everyone, welcome to the Super Review Show's Career Retrospectives, and I'm joined, as always, I will be joined by my good man Kyle. He's right over here.
Hey,
Hey, glad you could be here once again. And we have this is our second installment here of doing what we call Career Retrospectives, and today's artist in particular is Blink-182. Kyle, what specifically are we doing tonight?
so this is going to be kind of the new rundown for career retrospectives. We did a little different last week. We talked about one album. I believe we're just going to, from now on, be discussing the full career discography of each band. So today we're going to be focused on Blink-182. We're going to, start from their first album, discuss some thoughts about each album, high points, low points, just overall thoughts, impressions. And by the end, we're going to have each of our definitive rankings of our Blink-182 albums.
Awesome. Cannot wait. So I'm do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first? How do you want to do this?
Let's just start at Cheshire Cat, and you want to go first? Do you have any highlights that you have from that one?
Yeah, let me get it for you. Hold on. Because for and full disclosure to everyone, I am not, and I do love Blink-182. I'm not like a super fan, I would say, but I do love their work quite a bit. And I do know I know the hits, I know the albums, but doing this was really an interesting thing for me personally. So let's jump over to their first album as I put up for all of you as well.
Yeah, they definitely got me back to listening to some things I haven't heard from them in quite a while for various reasons I'll get into.
Yeah. Yeah. I to be honest, this is my first run through of this album was like, holy cow, and this is Blink-182,
Yeah, yeah.
So
And just so if anyone's questioning, we are starting here. We agreed upon that Buddha is not an album. We're only going through official studio albums. Buddha is demos. So we're not starting there.
yeah,
I don't
no.
remember what Mark Hoppus might say. It's demos. But
Yes. Sorry, Mark.
through their 8 studio albums.
Yeah. Which ironically enough, like we talked about before we started going on live tonight, was the fact that their 8th album was called 9. It's strange, but we'll get
Weird decision, but we'll get into it.
Yeah. But overall, I got my initial impressions were of their debut album by Blink-182. I gotta tell you, it was a slight. I mean, I felt like I knew it because it's my first time listening to this album from start to finish. But like, I gotta tell you, Kyle, like this was a lot of fun. I gotta say that. One thing that yeah, you're gonna get to your stuff in a sec too. I know that, but like, I gotta tell you, I knew some of the tracks already. Like I knew Eminem's. I knew Wasting Time, the 2 singles that were released. But that outside of that, I was very exposed to like new things and things that I weren't really aware about Blink-182 initially. I was like, it was for me personally, it was just a really well-rounded, great introduction to Blink-182, and I liked it overall. What did you think?
So my overall thoughts on this album, it's fun. I wouldn't say it's a great album. I don't know if I'd even call it a good album, if I'm going to be honest.
All right.
It's messy. It has a lot of songs have trouble with transitions. I feel like one song will be headed one way, and then out of nowhere it's completely different, but it doesn't transition well. My biggest problem with the album, Tom's vocals are awful on just about every song he's on. Now, that's not to say that this album doesn't have its merit, because there are some great songs on this album. It's a fun album. You know, there are some songs that you can hear and be like, oh, this is where Blink is headed. But overall, this album, to me, it's fun. It doesn't hit the mark for a lot of it, and a lot of the songs sound very much the same going through it, particularly the drums. Pre-Travis, this is Not saying Scott was a bad drummer because he's not. The drums are fine. There's just not much going on with it. A lot of songs sound the same. So I mean, if you want to get into high points, my high points of this album, really the big songs, the three main songs from it: Carousel, Eminem's Wasting Time. Great songs, and they all really give a good view of this is where Blink's going. This is what they are. The other song I want to talk about that's how we give an honorable mention, the song Just About Done. It is just a couple minutes of just a tribal beat, which I appreciated. It was the only song I think that sounded different. And then you know, what more could you ask for than just Mark and Tom just screaming, screaming random nonsense and yelling for a couple minutes.
Yeah, all right. That sounds good. Yeah. Because it was me getting into it. I was like, I couldn't really get into it too much, but I mean,
It's not.
I definitely see where you're coming from, though.
It is not a pop punk album. It is a almost more watered down traditional punk. Really, the pop aspects aren't there.
Mm-hmm.
Low points, the song Strings. I can't stand that song. Another song, Does My Breath Smell? Don't care for it. TV. There's a handful I don't care for. Overall, I'd probably put this as number 8 on my personal list.
All right, yeah, I'm definitely gonna agree with you on that. I'm gonna put it at my number 8 as well. Just letting you know. So, why don't you give your next impressions on Dude Ranch, and I will let you go first. Okay.
So, Dude Ranch. This, in my opinion, is the album where Blink-182 became Blink-182. This is the album. It brought us their first, what I could call classic songs. Damn It being their biggest song at this point, really is what catapulted them to fame, even even down to the music video. Classic music video. Everything about it was great. It was fun. This album doesn't have many low points, but I will say a lot of the songs kind of has the same thing going on as Cheshire Cat, where they sound the same, but not in a bad way. They're fun songs. You have a much more cohesive album than the first. Definitely step up in quality, even in terms as far as production goes, which you would expect as a band gets bigger. Tom no longer sounds bad. Most of the songs he sounds good on here. Um, you know, Still not great. Tom has never been like a fantastic singer, but got some memorable hooks, and even the drums better, more creative. Um, Highlights for me, definitely Damn It, Josie, Dick Lips, and A New Hope would be an honorable mention for me.
Yeah, I'm definitely on the same boat as you on this for most of I agree with you a lot on this, actually, to be honest with you. Josie is a good one as well. Damn It, obviously a classic as well. But one of my favorites personally, and it's one of the singles that got released. One of the singles that got released was Apple Shampoo.
Mhm.
I like it. It's good. I like it. So some of the songs on there, like I wasn't as familiar with it. If we go down to the track listing here,
It's definitely an album that I wouldn't say it's like super long track listing, but there's definitely more there than one would have originally thought, I guess. Like if you didn't really know the album much
yeah,
beforehand. Only song that I really don't care much for that I skip a lot is Degenerate. I don't know, something about it that I can't really pinpoint it. It just never like gripped my attention.
yeah. Yeah, for me, and I hate to be this kind of guy, but like outside of the singles for like, outside of like Damn It, Apple Shampoo, Josie, A New Hope, and what was the other one I really like? I liked Untitled a little bit personally.
Yes,
But
it is.
yeah, there are fun tracks I like on here. I mean, I like the standout tracks for me are probably those, to be honest with
Yeah, that they're definitely the standouts, and I think for a reason. Like
you.
these are the songs that really they got big on, and there's a reason for it. It's when they really started to get what would become the Blink 182 formula. Um, and I think that they would just go on to perfect that in future albums. For me personally, I would put this in my ranking as number 7.
All right. I mean, so this is your number 7. I don't know. I'm gonna say honestly, like it's
Hey, your ranking can always be changed by the end if you want to edit it.
that's true. Yeah. I'll tell you what. I'm gonna put this actually as my number 6 for now. Put a one above you for now.
That's a fair placement. A lot of people really do like this album, especially older fans,
Yeah.
and I definitely get it. It's a fun album. Um, you know, what I really like about this album is it managed to take in their first album. You know, they didn't have the big budget for production yet. When I was listening to that, it reminded me of my really bad high school band, and I was like, yeah, this is probably what we would have sounded like if we recorded an album in an actual recording studio. Not great. But on
Right.
this album, they managed to take that like bunch of friends in a band sound and make the production on it a little better. So it's like, oh, this is actual. Like you listen to it, this is an actual band. This is like this is the real thing now.
Yeah. I definitely feel the same way about it. I mean, like it's now where I'm gonna put for now what I'm gonna put for my number 7 is definitely something to we'll wait and see. But I definitely I like it a lot. It's fun, you know. I just agree with a lot of the things you're saying. That's all. That's the best I can say.
Now I will say from here, from this point in our conversations,
Mhm.
I may have some controversial opinions coming up that may rub some people the wrong way.
All right,
But
that's fine.
we'll get to that. So I mean, I guess that really segues us into Enema of the State. You want to start that one?
Sure, I'll start off on this one. First off, I gotta say the cover always got to me. It was pretty. It's like it's just something that's pretty funny to
It's
me. It's like
classic.
wow.
About it that it's so. I guess you only describe it. It's so Blink-182. It's so like late '90s, early 2000s, fun, fun teen movie pop punk. Like remember the old American Pie movies? Like the soundtracks always be just the entire sound would be pop punk, Blink-182, Green Day, and like that album cover. It just it speaks to that so much.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely one of those album covers. Like it just grabs your attention immediately.
Yeah.
I gotta say, this has more of the driving hits that we all know. Blink-182 4. I was with obviously What's My Age Again, All the Small Things, Adam's Song, you know, all very. I'm sure I haven't seen them live, but I'm sure they're live staples of their shows as well. And you know, honestly, I, this is the one. Like another one of my favorites. I think is going away to college on this album. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
I love that song.
Me too. That is one of my
It's so great.
album. It's so. I feel like in terms of their mainstream songs, it is so overlooked. It
Oh
is such a
yeah,
good song. Honestly, one of their best in my opinion.
yeah, I completely agree. I mean, like that the good was it going away to college? What's the other one? Aliens Exist, Mutt. I like those. Those are. I mean, they're like lesser known on the album, I guess you could say, but like they're great.
Yeah, the thing with this album is there's not a bad song on this album.
I
You know,
agree.
when I was like listening through everything, I was trying to come up with like low points, and I was trying to be fair. Like I was doing my best to be fair, and like even on a classic, iconic album that I've loved for years and years. I tried to come up with, well, is there a low point? Like, are there songs I don't really care for much? And there wasn't. There's not a song on this album that's a low point. It is great front to back. It's like the perfect runtime. There's no filler. It's
Yeah.
every song on it is amazing. Uh, there's a reason that it's one of the most iconic pop punk albums of all time. This is talk about when I talk about Dude Ranch, talk about the Blink-182 formula. This is where they perfected it. This is the album they brought in. They brought in Travis, and that just whatever missing parts of the formula there was, it's there.
Yeah, like, and I'm looking at the track list because I couldn't remember, for some reason I couldn't remember all the songs, but like Dumpweed, like Anthem, these are all you're absolutely right. These are just great songs.
And there's one thing that Blink-182 knows how to do. And I don't think they've ever had an album where this was not the case. Their album openers are all fantastic.
Yeah.
They have never opened an album with a song that doesn't like immediately grab your attention.
I agree with that. I mean, the moment I mean, we'll get to like California and 9 in a little bit, but yeah, like definitely that's definitely up there for me. So
I mean, for me, my personal highlights of this album: Going Away to College, Adam's Song, and The Party Song. Another song that I think gets really overlooked. If there's any song in the album that to me is just dumb fun, it's The Party Song.
Yeah. I second that notion.
Yeah, I mean, at least to me, I don't think there's much more for me to say that hasn't already been said a million times before about this album. It's a classic.
Definitely. I mean, I the big question is though, Kyle, where does this rank for you in your top 8 of all the Blink-182 albums?
Number 2.
Number 2. Oh,
number 1.
Really?
After all that praise I just gave it, this is not number 1.
Wow. I think I know where you're going with this, but we'll have to see, of course, as time goes on. I'm actually, you know what? I wonder if we're gonna like agree on a lot of this stuff, to be honest with you, because this is at my number 2 as well.
Okay.
But my number 3 and 4 and 1 might surprise you. Let's put it that way. I agree. This is a great album. We'll see. I mean, I'm curious to see where we go from here. So.
I have a very controversial ranking of Blink-182 albums. So
okay.
If you can see if we're on the same page.
All right. And the next, are we all good with Enema? How do you say it? I'm sorry.
Enema.
Enema of the State. Yeah.
All right. I mean, I'm good. I'm good on that one. If you are, I don't think there's really much more for me to add on it. It's just, it's such a classic.
It really, it's up there for me as that's why I put it as number 2 as well. But we'll see how the next one goes.
Fun music videos and everything about it is so good.
Oh yeah. Let's go back to where we were before. Hold on. Let's go ahead to their next album, which I highly rank as well, personally as well. But we'll see where Kyle and I go with from here. Take Off Your Pants and Jacket in 2001.
Yes. So I'll just start off by saying this album, if Enema of the State perfected the Blink-182 formula, this just kept it going. It's another fantastic album. Follows pretty much exactly where Enema of the State left off, even having the opening song be Anthem Part 2, which in my opinion, even better than the first one.
Really? Okay.
I'll start by saying that. I mean, you go ahead, add some thoughts from your end there.
I got to tell you, Anthem Part 2, I agree with you on that. I mean, the classic song, I think at this stage of the game, the First Date is a classic first date song. I mean, for those of you who watch my show and understand where I'm coming from when I say this, but on my first date recently when I first started going out with my girl, the first song I played was First Date, and how convenient that was for me personally. I thought, and she's like, "What is this?" That's First Date. I thought it was great. And other standouts to me are like The Rock Show, a classic. I wouldn't want to say classic, but it's just that good. It's just that great of a song. I do like Give Me One Good Reason and Shut Up.
Yep.
Those are great as well. Happy Holidays, You Bastards, a funny one for me. I like that personally. Yeah, and there's just I don't know. Those are a couple standouts for me personally.
So I actually do want to backtrack for a second.
Sure.
Let's bring up Enema of the State, Adam's song. We talked about it briefly.
Yeah.
Is the song that showed that Blink-182 could do serious songs for the really first time in their, you know, in their career.
Yeah.
They had never done a serious song before, and they did it great. Again, they continued on this album, Stay Together for the Kids. Great song. I don't think it hit, for me personally, not having gone through that situation, it didn't hit as hard for me personally. It's a great song. I do think Adam's song is better, but I love that we can still see Blink take on a more serious side. For me, my highlights, Anthem Part 2, probably my favorite album opener from them. Reckless Abandon, Shut Up, and then an honorable mention close to the top 3, Give Me One Good Reason. But again, this second album in a row, I could not find a song that I would consider a low point of this album. And that is pretty difficult to do, to have 2 albums back to back that there's not a single song on it that I would skip. And not just that, but having 2 iconic albums back to back it's crazy. There are bands that have done it before, but usually you don't get that. You don't get 2 fully iconic, like groundbreaking albums back to back.
Yeah, it's definitely more rare nowadays too.
Yeah, and I think it was actually the video for the Rock show that the label just gave them a bunch of money, and they just went around the streets throwing it around and just throwing it off roofs and stuff. It was amazing. I'm pretty sure it was that song. I'm not a big music video person anymore. I used to be back in the day, and I just kind of fell off with videos. But also, this album really brought the Blink-182 joke songs to the forefront. I mean, Happy Holidays, You Bastards, hysterical. I don't know if you ever heard the bonus tracks from each different version. I mean, like the song "Fuck a Dog." It's ridiculous. It's so stupid, but it's hysterical. And there's nothing more Blink-182 than that.
I agree. Could not agree with that more. I mean, with the title "Fuck a Dog," so.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a Blink-182 album. That said, I don't think it's as good as Enema of the State.
All right.
It still definitely rivals it. I just think that every song on Enema of the State hit like so hard front to back. This album does too. I just think to a slightly lesser extent. I think like the highs of Enema were higher than the highs on this album, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. Yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from with that.
So, where would you rank this one?
Man, personally, I'm looking at my own reference sheet of how I personally rank them. Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. I actually put. You might think I'm crazy. I put it at number 3. Personally, because it has some nostalgia for me as well, I'm a little bit younger than you, but like I remember some of these songs on the radio as well, like mainstream stuff at least, because it was like I was just in the age old enough to like, oh, Blink-182, yeah. So
well, do I have a surprise for you? Because I also put it as number 3.
Oh my god. Well,
that is number 3, just because it's like I said, it's not quite the level of Enema of the State, but it's right there.
Yeah. It's definitely up there for sure.
It's another classic, timeless album. Again, you listen to it today, it sounds like it could have just come out yesterday. Like it holds up. It doesn't sound dated. It doesn't sound like an early 2000s album. No. It still holds up, especially with the resurgence of Travis Barker is just a genre at this point. He seems to work with everyone. Like you turn on like Spotify, it's like new Travis Barker feature and like a TikTok pop punk song, and it all sounds like this era of Blink now. So I mean, it obviously has staying power, and it's great. I just think that Enema has the little one up on it.
Yeah, especially the fact that what's his face? You said Travis Barker. If you're living under a rock and are not aware of this, Travis Barker is everywhere nowadays. It's ridiculous.
If you do anything, the dude is just he like single-handedly revived pop punk in the past like 2 years. I don't know what happened, but he's now just he's everywhere. You can't get away from the guy at this point.
And like for those of you, yeah, I was gonna say like for those of you who are living under a rock still, the Machine Gun Kelly album, Tickets to My Downfall, he's the drummer on the album.
Produced it. He's right. I mean, even that the TikTok star Jaden.
Oh yeah, Jaden. Yeah,
the first guy signed to Travis's new record label. His album is good too. It sounds like Blink. There's even a song that samples song they sampled "Feeling This" on one of his songs. It's great.
Yeah, I agree. It's just all around. Travis Barker, if you're listening, call us at that superreviewshow at gmail.com so you can contact us there. Yeah.
I hear you'll get on anything.
Hey, I mean, you're in a band too. I mean, so why not just call him?
Just post a song on TikTok. Be like, hey, Travis, we need you.
Travis, we need you. Contact us now. Follow the link in the description. All right, let's go over to 2003 too. To be honest, when I do love this album a lot. I mean, there's a couple standout tracks as well. I'll get into it in a second. But the fact that it's untitled still to this day is actually truly amazing.
So the fact to me that generally when a band puts out an album without a title, they call it self-titled.
Yeah.
Untitled. So I always thought that was an interesting thing. I don't know if that was from the band's perspective, it was untitled, or if it was, the fans just decided it was untitled and ran with it. But
right.
It's a great album. My thoughts are a little controversial, so I'm gonna let you take this one first.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely holds up to me personally. I mean, some of the standout tracks, we're getting to that right now, but like the standout tracks they definitely had some like, obviously I Miss You, Feeling This, Down. I like Always as well. Stockholm Syndrome. Like there's a couple standouts to me personally. I mean, which one stand out to you?
To me, the standouts are Feeling This, I Miss You, and Always. Down is also good. I'm gonna be that guy. I don't like Stockholm Syndrome.
Okay.
I don't like Violence that much.
Okay.
I am not a big fan of this album.
Really?
Outside of Illness, I Miss You, Down, and Always, I don't listen to any of this album.
Interesting.
I know this is like I know this is most people's like, this is the Blink album. This is, to me, it's just, I like Blink when they're having fun. This album lacks that. It's definitely more serious and it's definitely more dark, and it kind of shows like, they broke up for the first time after this album. They were doing an album, I don't know if you noticed, but every album we've done only had a 2-year span between it. So I think at this point they were getting burnt out, and I think that it started to show. I wouldn't necessarily say in the songwriting, because unbiasedly toward this album, the songwriting is great. The songs just aren't for me personally, but so that's my hot take on it. I only really like those 3 or 4 songs.
All right.
I mean, the ones I specifically don't like, I really don't care for Easy Target. And I really, really don't like All of This. That is probably my least favorite Blink-182 song of all time, and that's counting, early work and demos, things like that.
Yeah.
I just really dislike the song.
It's all good. It's all good.
Let me say that's where I stand on this album. It's classic. It introduced this perfect logo, great logo. I love the album artwork, but to me, it's just it's just not for me. And I know that's a lot of people. This is a lot of people. Actually, I would say it's probably most people's number one Blink-182 album. And
It's
I
definitely.
get
Yeah, go ahead.
why, but it's just I don't know. Like this one feels dated to me. Oddly enough, there's a couple songs that I hear them and I don't think it sounds as old as it is. Like the ones I mentioned, like I think, you know, I Miss You, I feel like feels a little old. But I feel like a lot of these songs don't hold up as well. I don't know if that's just my bias talking, but like I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from though. With like, I Miss You was a big hit as well off the album in 2003.
I
But
mean
like
that's
as far,
you go to any emo night and everyone, screams along to that song. It's a staple. It's still a live staple to this day, even without Tom on vocals. It's the great songs are amazing. Like the big songs from this album, I think, are some of the best they've ever written. Um, I do think that you could tell that they were going through like hardships as a band at this point.
yeah,
I think that came through in the songs. It's definitely not a fun album.
yeah. I mean, it's like, feeling this is obviously fun. I mean, for the most part, and like there's a couple other ones that like.
They're going.
No, yeah, I was gonna say like feeling this is like the only really song I could think of on the album that like stands out to me as like a typical, Blink-182 song.
And I think that's what got me about this album is, maybe I was wrong. Feeling This might be my favorite Blink opener. Uh, but I think that what brings it down for me is they start off the album with this fun song, like, oh, here we go. And then it just doesn't go anywhere with that. It just goes into more serious, dark things. And then this is kind of where they started experimenting. Like this is definitely where they started experimenting and where it would eventually go to Tom's side projects, eventually go to like Angels and Airwaves sound. And
Yeah.
it seems like to me there's a little too much experimenting going on and a little too much of a departure.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's a great album. The drumming is incredible. I like Travis really stepped it up here. There's no denying that.
Yeah.
But where do you think you would rank yours?
Just really two more side notes for
Oh yeah,
Blink-182's Untitled album. Um, I was just I'm looking at the notes here as well. I didn't realize this was their longest album at 49 minutes. I didn't realize that until now. So that's something that stood out to me. But
I guess it is longer in California. I was thinking of the deluxe California.
right, yeah, that one's really long. But this one is, yeah. And one thing that you pointed out though was the album artwork. I mean, that's to me when I think of Blink-182, that's what I think of. I think of that logo. That's your background and as well as the album cover as well.
I love the logo. It's one of the all-time great band logos.
Yeah.
There's a lot of incredible bands out there, but a lot of them don't have memorable logos. I'll even go as far as to say, as we talked about last week, Green Day is my favorite band.
Yeah.
They don't have just like a logo that you see and you're like, oh, that's Green Day. Yeah, they have the American Idiot Heart Grenade, but that's one album. This logo has just been their thing ever since this time. They still use this logo to this day. There's really
Yeah.
not many bands that do like Kiss has their Kiss logo. The Chili
Right.
Peppers have theirs, and Blink. It's great. They found it like an aesthetically pleasing logo that looks cool. It works on almost anything they want to put it on, and it's iconic. It really is. To me, though, the artwork for this one is more iconic than the music. To me personally, outside of a couple songs.
I tend to agree with that actually. Truthfully, I agree with that point. But where I'd rank it, out of the 8 albums they've had, man, I'm gonna say personally, you might think I'm crazy, and I'm only saying this because I'm more exposed to this than I am the next couple. But I'm gonna say that I'm gonna put it at number 5, only because I know I'm giving a lot of like.
I also had it as number 5.
Jesus Christ, really?
I also had it as number 5. Look, even on my pre-recording notes, wherever won't show up. It's a piece of paper, but
That's all right.
Number 5. That's crazy.
That's weird. That's great minds think alike, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, Blink-182 Untitled album, love to see it. I do like. I can't believe we both put it number 5. That's actually pretty funny.
I thought definitely you would have had it higher because so many people, they're like, this is Blink-182's best album.
Yeah. I mean, like for me, it's like I have a little bit better of a taste, I guess, compared to like other ones. But let's talk about Neighborhoods back in 2011.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna take. I'm not sure if you were a Blink-182 fan at this point in time. I was a Blink-182 fan. I had honestly, I'd always been like a fan of like their hits, but like this was around the time before this album came out.
Yeah.
Was when I started to really get into them. So this album was weird for me.
Okay.
They released the album, but also at the same time released the deluxe edition. But really, nobody listened to the standard edition because the deluxe edition, the songs weren't just extra songs at the end. They actually made it more of a cohesive album. Like they put the bonus tracks in the middle of the album, and I don't ever hear anyone listening to the standard. I never knew anyone that owned the standard. This is back when people were still buying CDs, which I still collect them and everything. But back then, everyone had the deluxe. I never even saw the standard in the store for a while, so it was just a weird decision to me on that front. But musically, it was just so odd.
Yeah.
Like I know what they were going for. Uh, Tom was back. They all got together. They did their side projects for years. There's 8 years or so between albums. Pretty crazy. I'll let you give your thoughts before we get into tracks, but I just wanted to lead it off with that. It was just a weird decision on there, and I thought.
When I
listened to it, I will say that I rated it based on the deluxe edition because that's what I feel like most people know.
Okay. I am in the same boat as you. It was listening to it recently for the first time, actually. It just was strange to me. It was less like the best way to describe it was weird. It was a weird album overall for me. The points you were making, like with Tom coming back and whatnot, and also didn't they take a gap between their last album and this album? Is that correct?
Yeah, they broke up between the two albums. Tom left the band and he went off, did Boxcar Racer with Travis, and then Mark did Plus 44 with Travis. So like for a while, Travis just seemed to be like that the kid with like the divorced parents just going off doing whatever on different weekends. But this was their reunion. This was their like reunion album. Then I actually saw them on this tour. My first time seeing them live was on the tour for this. It was them and My Chemical Romance co-headliner.
Oh wow.
And that's really when I had started getting, like I said, into Blink-182 a lot. So to have this be their reunion album didn't feel right to me. It's okay. I think it has some good songs, but to me, this is more. Seemed like Tom had a lot of control on this album. It's very reminiscent of Angels and Airwaves. I think he took way too much of that influence and tried to like shoehorn it into Blink. Like there's really not many Blink sounding songs on this album.
Yeah. I tend to agree with you on that. Actually, it's definitely not. I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was, but it wasn't like the actual like Blink-182 sounding or type of album. I mean, it's up to other people, but I mean, I still like it. I like because I love Blink-182, but that's really all I got. So, but getting into the track listing now, I mean, a couple stand out to me as well, like Up All Night, After Midnight, just an interview, but like that's honestly outside of the singles that got released, that's really all I got. For like the rest, they kind of fell flat.
And I'm not surprised that you had said that you hadn't listened to this album before, and I'm not surprised. It's an album that really kind of got pushed away from. I think the band, they don't play anything from this album anymore. I can't remember the last time they did. It might have even been this tour. Uh, but again, the singles were the only songs that really were any bit memorable. I mean,
Yeah.
Ghost on the Dance Floor, that was a good one. Up All Night and After Midnight, also great. The one that I do also want to point out that was a pleasant surprise, Hearts All Gone. That is probably the most traditional Blink sounding thing we got from this album. Even that, it's still not as uh, not as fun as the others, but it's the most fun thing on here.
Yeah.
Now on the flip side, this is the album where I probably have the most least favorite songs from. I think they hit a lot of low points here. Now
Yeah.
this one, for whatever reason, in recent years, I noticed became a fan cult favorite. Wishing Well. I never understood the appeal. I don't think it's great.
Mhm.
I also don't care for Snake Charmer and Fighting the Gravity, which, again, those are on the deluxe. They were deluxe tracks. So I don't know what the decision was to put them on there because I think that the album would have overall been better without those two because the only other deluxe track other than Random Interlude that was also unneeded is Even If She Falls, and that's the only bonus track that I think is any great. I think they could just put out an 11-song album that would have been better than this because I really don't like Snake Charmer and I don't like Fighting the Gravity, and the Hearts All Gone interlude, totally unnecessary. It was, again, weird decision. I think it was a weird period for the band. Uh, definitely, definitely is more to me Angels and Airwaves influence than it is Blink influenced at all.
Mm.
And also one thing I want to point out, which I'm not sure like you were aware of this, they did not record this album together. They recorded this album from all different studios. They would just record things, send it back and forth to each other. And I think that really comes across. Like they don't seem like they have chemistry on the album, and I think it came across that was the case. Like it seemed like they wrote songs just to write it and were like, oh, let's send this to him now. You record this, and they were never actually in the studio together making this.
Yeah. You definitely need that chemistry if you're going to make any song. So, so big question, big question. Where does this rank for you amongst your Blink-182 albums?
Number 6.
Number 6. Interesting.
Number 6. I will say I like it more than Dude Ranch. I I think that I was a little critical of it just now, but as a whole, I think that it's an easier and more what's the word I'm looking for? More listener friendly thing to hear than Dude Ranch was. Like Dude Ranch was fun, it was great. I do, this album does have good lyrics. Lyrically, it's definitely much better. It's a more mature band. And the songs I do like, I do really like Up All Night, After Midnight. They're both fantastic songs. They're both, I would put them in the top Blink songs. But it's just the rest of the album doesn't hold up together that well.
Right.
So
Well,
big where are you putting it?
You're gonna think I'm crazy, but I didn't put it number 6. I put it number 7.
That's fair.
Because
I did think about that too.
yeah, like mainly because like I had only listened to it for the first time like this past week before we did this. Like it wasn't like what I wanted either. Like it was like you said, it was a very weird time. I didn't even know they were recording in separate studios. That just it signifies in the final product to me. But
Yep. Yeah. I remember being let down when this album came out. I remember I was excited for it. It came out. I listened to it, and then I hardly listened to it ever again. Again, I only come back to those handful of songs, and occasionally maybe one extra.
Yeah.
but I pretty much avoid it. And I don't want to say avoid it as in like, oh, it's terrible, I'll never hear it. I just never have like the urge to go back and listen to it. I will say that after this, and we're not going to get into the EPs, they did do the Dogs Eating Dogs EP, which was significantly better in my opinion
Okay.
than this was. And I believe they did record that all together. I think there might be a reason why. That it was a great EP. And that was right before Tom left the band again, which I guess that segues us into their second return album, their second comeback.
Oh yeah, here we go.
And
I cannot wait to talk about this. Let's put it that way. I'm so excited.
I know you're a big fan of this, so I'll let you kick this one off.
All right. So California. I actually, to be honest, you might think I'm crazy for this. This is the first Blink-182 album I bought physically with it and with my own as a CD. Okay. So I was like, all right, because I knew them for a while, but this is the first one I bought on CD. Holy God, what a fun!
I'm curious.
What's that?
Did you get the original or the deluxe?
I did not get the deluxe.
Okay.
The white cover, yeah.
I ended up getting both because I bought this the day it came out, and then I bought the deluxe a year later when that came out.
Yeah, there's a lot of great tracks on this album, but I gotta tell you, like, I got the white cover. I didn't get the black California cover. Yeah, the deluxe. What an album! Oh my God! Like, you and I probably got a lot to say on this, but oh my God, like there are some fantastic songs on this record, on this album, just in general. There's everything from the opening track, Cynical, which was great. Bored to Death. Come on. She's Out of Her Mind. And then it just from there, it got to me like some standouts were like Los Angeles. Built This Pool. It's 16 seconds, but it's great.
It's hysterical.
Yeah. It's like, we want to see some naked dudes. Build this. It's just, it's fun. It's a fun, like 16 second thing.
Whole album is. It's fun. Like there's one word to describe this album. It's fun. I think it's probably the most fun thing as a whole that they put out. The addition of Matt was great. I think he does a great job, in Tom's place. Word on the street is the rumors that Tom might be coming back in some form. I'd like to see them do something as like a 4-piece band. That'd be cool. But honestly, I'd be fine if Tom never comes back. Matt has been doing an incredible job, and this album, I was skeptical going into it, of course, because I was like, to me, before they announced they're gonna be like replacing him, I was like, yeah, Blink-182 is Mark, Tom, and Travis. Is what it is, So I went in skeptical, and I heard Bored to Death, and I wasn't too blown away by it. Like lead single, I was like, all right, it's all right. Then the album came out, and I listened to it. Let me tell you, this album was my album of this summer for 2016. Really? Me and my friends, we listened to nothing but this album that summer. It was like so good, such like good times with it. Really not like much more to say other than that. It's fun. It's Blink-182 getting back to doing what they do best, having fun and making stupid jokes. Now I know there are criticisms from people about John Feldman's production, specifically the amount of na-nas and la-las on the album. Who cares? They're fun. Like, if you want serious music, go back, listen to Untitled, go back, listen to Neighborhoods. But when I listen to Blink, I want to hear fun things. Now, I will say, here's my one criticism of the album. Only one. It's weird to hear like 40-year-old dudes singing about being teenage satellites and being kings of the weekend. It's a little cringy. They're old. It does come off a little bit odd.
I see where you're coming from with that.
But it's still fun because it's going to be a lot of kids finding them through this. It's going to be a lot of kids hearing Blink for the first time from this album. And I'm sure it did. I'm sure a lot of kids got brought into it from this.
Everything you said and more. Like it's fun. And like I going back to my standout tracks, like I probably listened to this album more than any other Blink-182 album, to be honest with you. Because everything from Cynical, Bored to Death, like the ones I listen to like almost on a daily basis. Cynical, Bored to Death, She's Out of Her Mind, Los Angeles, Built This Pool. Yes, I said it. So San Diego, and the title track, California. Wow.
Very interesting because we have very different highlights from this album.
Yeah.
First of all, I want to point out I did not know until just now looking at this that Patrick Stump was a writer on Sober. That's interesting. It's a great song. I love that song. But my standouts, I try to do like top 3 standouts from each album. My top 3, No Future. That's like a deep cut from the album, gets like overlooked a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So fun. The chorus is like so bouncy and fun. She's Out of Her Mind, great one. And San Diego, top 3 for me. San Diego is like one of the only serious songs on the album, but it does it so well. Which I see Patrick Stump also co-wrote that one as well. He did a great job co-writing this. Also, I will touch upon the deluxe in a little bit here, but low points for me. Interesting you mentioned Los Angeles. I'm not a fan of the song Los Angeles very much. It's okay. And then Left Alone. Left Alone, I feel like, is the one filler song on the album.
Yeah.
I could do without it. I don't think the album really needed it. But it's all right. It's not a bad song. Like, none of the songs are bad. They're just kind of,
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair point.
Do you have any songs on the album that you're like low points to you?
Any low points, man? On the regular standard edition, probably. I really, honest to God, can't really think of one. I mean, the lowest I would go, like, I don't really rank the songs like necessarily like 1 out of 10, but like I know some people do, but like I was gonna say, like the only thing that like maybe Left Alone, that's about it. I love this album. It's so fun.
It's great, but even Left Alone, I never skip it because usually when I listen to this album, it's one of the albums I listen to front to back. So when it comes on, I never think about skipping. It's just the one song I'm like, yeah, probably didn't need it, but I generally don't skip it. Now, the deluxe edition.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Not as good in my opinion. I was a little let down with it. I see why it was deluxe. Highlights from that for me would have been Hey, I'm Sorry, which is one of the best Blink-182 songs. Should have been a single, should have been on the original version of the album. Parking Lot and Good Old Days. Good Old Days makes me feel very nostalgic. Low points from there. Bottom of the Ocean and Last Train Home. Not a fan of. Bored to Death live and acoustic. It's a live acoustic version of Bored to Death. It could have done without it. Thoughts?
Yeah. The deluxe for me, I mean, personally, I haven't like fully dove into the deluxe because I love the original, the standard cut so much. I would say I'd have to say like the most, like the only, you're gonna laugh at me. The only thing I've really listened to off of that peaked that caught my eye was actually the live and acoustic Bored to Death, because I have a, which is funny enough, because I have a coffee house acoustic guitar acoustic songs playlist on Spotify.
Yeah.
And I added that in there because I was like, all right, it's an acoustic. I'm looking for like punk rock songs that went acoustic, like Good Riddance by Green Day and whatnot. And that was one of them.
So if you haven't listened to the deluxe edition, I highly recommend doing it if you like California, because you probably will really like it. Right. I don't think it's good. Now, in terms of my ranking, I didn't take the deluxe into consideration because I don't count it as part of the album. I count it as like an extra, kind of like the Dogs Eating Dogs with Neighborhoods, just a release afterwards.
Yeah, I agree.
Parking Lot, fantastic song. Hey, I'm Sorry though. that song I knew from the year even before the deluxe edition was released because it was the Japanese bonus track on California, which Japanese bonus tracks is a rant for a whole nother day I have. But when I heard that, I was livid that they did not put that on there.
Yeah.
And so when I heard it was coming out on the deluxe edition, I was so happy. It's one of their top tier songs. Honestly, probably top 5 Blink song for me. Having said that, I will say I understand why people may not, um, you know, like the album so much. They're old school Blink fans. They grew up with the original, the original 3, the original Blink albums. I get it, but it's a fun album. Even if you remove the band, this is how I like to look at things sometimes. Take the band name away from everything, and it's an incredible album. It's, for me, controversial time, number 1. This was my number 1 Blink-182 album.
Wow.
Not counting the deluxe, I will say that.
Oh, okay. Well, as I can't believe I'm saying this, but we're on the same page. Like, it's my number 1 as well. Like, I kid you not. It's like, it's just so good. It's so, Kyle, I don't know what's going on right now, but it's brilliant.
Everything about it. The
Yeah.
production sounds great, and again, say what you want about Feldman being a co-writer and putting na-nas in the songs. The production on it sounds great. It sounds good as an album. Even the album artwork, it's cool. The tour for it, I saw them on this tour with A Day to Remember and All Time Low, and it was great. They sounded great. Like I said, Matt does a great job. He had such big shoes to fill trying to live up to Tom, and he not only met those goals, like met that challenge, he exceeded it for me. I had more fun seeing them with Matt than I did with Tom, and he sounded better live than Tom ever did. This was such a great time period for the band, and such a great time to be a Blink-182 fan. And to me, it's number 1. That could also just be, nostalgia for that summer when it came out. It's such a good time period, and it's just a fun time. But this album, when it came out, it blew away my expectations, especially after hearing Bored to Death, which I would put in mid tier of the album for me. So I went into it with not high expectations. So when that came out, I was like, whoa, this album kicks ass.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It was just I was blown. This is the album that got me made me go back to other Blink-182 stuff.
Yeah, put it this way. This album came out the same year as Revolution Radio by Green Day.
Yes.
This was my album of the year. Revolution Radio is one of my top, probably top 3 Green Day albums. Top 3 albums by my favorite band of all time. This album beat that out for album of the year this year.
Those are big words.
Big words.
Those are big words. Oh my God.
I'm looking at rankings now, and we both have number 4 left open. So I'm assuming that we both have the same number 4 in their 8th studio album titled 9.
What? Wait. Just making sure what I said correctly. What did I say for my number 5?
5, you had Untitled.
Okay, on my notes I had it all on my notes I had my set messed up, but yeah, my number 5 was the Untitled because I was typing it up as we went along. I wanted to make sure we were good, but yeah, my number 4 is 9. Yeah,
the 8th studio album, 9.
This is weird.
It has bothered me ever since they announced it back in the day, but it's an all right album. I don't it. It's not one of my favorites.
Yeah,
but it's not bad. You know what I mean? It's just kind of there. I don't think there's anything like really to say much about it. It was them trying to experiment again.
Basically,
It's,
yeah. I mean,
it took the fun out of California and went, more dark songs. Sorry. Um, but really, back to the name thing, Mark Hoppus's reasoning for it was that some fans think Buddha is an album. Some fans think the Mark, Tom, and Travis show was an album. It's a live album, doesn't count. Buddha was demos, I don't count that. And then some people count the California Deluxe as an album. If it was an album, it wouldn't have been Deluxe on California. This is their eighth album. I don't know why they did this, and it's gonna bother me forever that their eighth album is titled 9. But the songs are there. The songs are good. This, I think, to me, I think the best way I can describe this is what the current iteration, current lineup of Blink-182, this is their version of the Untitled album. It's darker, more experimental. Also, I want to point out, look at this crazy amount of writers that they have now compared to back in the day when it would just be a couple people.
Yeah, or even California.
Yeah. Yep. So, I mean,
yeah.
It's the first 4 songs, it starts off so well. The first 4 songs are so good. Then it kind of falls apart in the middle, in my opinion, anyway, and then picks up again at I Really Wish I Hated You through No Heart to Speak Of, and then just kind of fizzles out at the end. I mean, highlights for me personally, Pin the Grenade is, again, top tier Blink song. Amazing.
Yeah.
I Really Wish I Hated You. Love that. And Heaven is really good. That said, the first 4 songs are very good. They're fun. Even if the lyrics are a little bit darker, they're fun. Like, they still sound fun. They're upbeat. The first time is very reminiscent of Feeling This, especially like the intro of it. I mean, that's pretty much what I got to say. First initial thoughts. What do you think on that?
I tend to agree with you on most of the point. I think, like you said, the first 4 songs I think are great as well. I completely agree with you on that. I know that you said that the middle section got a little rough. I like Blame It On My Youth. I like the 49 seconds of Generational Divide personally. That's me. That's my personal like forte. I Really Wish I Hated You. I thought it was great as well. I thought it was good. Pin the Grenade, of course. Standout Blink track, of course. For some reason, on some emo shit and Remember to Forget Me stand out in my mind for some reason. I'm not sure why, but they just do.
So I'll just say my low points of this album were Blame It On My Youth, Black Rain, and Remember to Forget Me.
Right.
Blame It On My Youth being the lead single of this album, it let me down so much when I heard that.
Yeah.
Because it's also not representative of what the album is. I will say that. When I heard that, I was worried. It's like, oh, so this is what we're getting. Then I think Generational Divide was released after that, and that kind of was came off as like a big middle finger to everyone that didn't like Blame It On My Youth.
Yeah.
Which, I totally get it. But at the same time, how can you go from having such a fun album like California and then put this out and expect a good reception? But I don't know. It was just a low point for me. I skip it a lot. Black Rain, I skip to a lot, and then same thing. Remember to Forget Me. I didn't think it was a very memorable album closer. I do like On Some Emo Shit. You mentioned that one. That one is good. But what I really wanted, and they didn't give it to him. He's yet to get it since he's been in the band, a Matt Skiba solo song. He has not had a song where he's done 100% of lyrics on. And I thought we were going to get that on Dark Side, and it just didn't happen. But, I mean, that's nothing great. It's a pretty middle of the road album to me. It's there. the good songs are good. The other songs are I wouldn't say there's anything like truly like terrible on the album. Just some things that I skip, you know. And Generational Divide, it's good. It's a nice like fun punk song.
Yeah.
Really all I got to say on it for, you know, right now. You have anything else you want to add on it?
No, I mean, I think I said what I had to say, to be honest with you. I think I'm all said and done with it. I mean, that's where I stand. I mean, I like it overall. I mean, would I put it like, is it terrible? No. Is it great? No. But I like it overall. That's me.
It's an album, you know,
Yeah.
like at the end of the day, it didn't add anything. Like it's back to them experimenting, but it's not. They didn't experiment badly like they did with Neighborhoods. It's just there, you know. It's has some classic, what I would, you know, consider classic sounding Blink, and then it has some, yeah,
Yeah. Some like new
I see
sound.
what you were going for, but it's didn't really work that great. Like Ransom, not big into that. That was a weird transition, like in the middle of the song. I don't know, it just seems all over the place. I think that they could have done more with it. And then they had that whole thing afterwards. They talked about releasing an EP of collaborations with people after, and that never happened. I don't know if that was, you know, COVID made that not happen or something. I'm not really sure.
Right.
We did get shortly after this that horrendous version of What's My Age Again, I believe it was, featuring Lil Wayne.
Oh my God.
It's really bad. There is, however, I don't know if it never officially came out. I do believe part of it leaked. I don't know if the full song ever did, but they had recorded a version of I Really Wish I Hated You featuring Miley Cyrus.
Oh
That was interesting. I remember hearing a snippet of that at some point. I'm glad it didn't make the album though. I just prefer Blink as just them. I'm not too big into like when they do features. You know, they haven't really done it much.
Neither am I.
But I'm not huge into features in general. Like when I would listen to a band, I generally just want to hear the band song. That didn't happen. I mean,
Yeah.
since this album, they've been pretty quiet. And you know, Mark had his cancer battle, and you know, luckily he's doing fine now. I think the only thing they did after this album was that quarantine song,
Yeah.
which I think was pretty bad.
It
I
was rough.
didn't like it. I think it came off really cringy. The lyrics aren't great, but you know, at least we got something.
Yeah, no, I got you. So
But,
so all that being said, how would we rank our list? Let me stop sharing my screen so you can share your screen, right?
yes, let me get this.
Let me just, so that is our lineup of Blink-182 stuff for all you guys out there.
Let's see, where'd it go? I'll share it this way. I saved it another way, but I can't seem to find it now. So,
1 second, bud.
Yep.
You got it?
Yep, I got it right here. Let's do monster word. There we go.
There we go. So this is our list.
So our lists are way more similar than I thought. And this is not rehearsed. This is not planned. Completely came up with on our own here. Number 1, California. Number 2, Enema of the State. 3, Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. 4, 9, 5, Untitled. 6, that's the one we differed on. 6 for you, you had Dude Ranch. I put Neighborhoods. I think that's a fair interchange there.
Yep.
7, you had Neighborhoods. I put Dude Ranch. And then 8, Cheshire Cat. And I think that's. I'm glad we agreed, because usually people think I'm crazy with my ranking on these albums.
No, I agree.
Else thinks the same way.
It holds up well. I mean, I'm really surprised that we practically did the same list, which is actually really funny. And for the record, we did not plan that out at all. It was just we just did that naturally.
No, yeah, this was just throughout the past couple days, just listened and made my ranking, and we didn't discuss it beforehand. we just went through it and ended up with almost the same ranking. And
It's
I actually did
crazy.
consider putting Neighborhoods at 7 on mine, but I decided to go with 6.
Yeah. Well, I think that wraps it up for this week's episode of Career Retrospectives. I mean, there's the list. I mean, it stands out to me. It stands out to him. But ultimately, it's what you guys have to say. Jump down in the comment section below. Share your thoughts on Blink-182 with us. And yeah, if you have any other comments, concerns, you can always contact us and comment below and share your thoughts with us. So thank you so much, Kyle, for doing this again. We'll have to do it again next week, of course. And we'll figure that out when we go from there. So yeah, so that's gonna do it for us, guys. Thank you so much for letting us share some Blink-182 love with you guys. All right, we're gonna sign off now, and we'll see you guys next week. All right, here we go. See you guys.